Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. This is the Mercedes GLS, which Mercedes likes to call as the S class of SUVs. And straight away we'll open the engine bay. My goodness, this is heavy. But that is the engine. It says 6 cylinders right there. 6 cylinder actually. It's very hot. There's insulation right there and you can see it gets hydraulic struts too. Well, just look at the car. It does look very intimidating because it's massive in terms of size. In fact, it's 2 meters wide and it's 5.2 meters in length itself. The lights are beautiful. These are multi-beam LED lights with the high beam assist plus or something of that sort. You see, this is the DRL. It says Mercedes-Benz right there. There's a projector setup too, and it can actually throw up to 650 meters. The light throws up to 650 meters. That is crazy. Here you get parking sensors, obviously front parking sensors, a front parking camera as well, and a massive Mercedes logo, which unfortunately has cracked because a bird hit the car at quite a speed. So yeah, the bird was actually stuck in there. I had to pull it out from there as well. Now coming to the side of this Mercedes SUV, the flagship Mercedes SUV, look at the length. This is 5.2 meters of SUV. The wheelbase is more than 3.1 meters long. So yes, the wheelbase has increased in size. The length has increased in size. The width has also increased in size. So it's bigger in every possible way. And now I put the air suspension on high. So I've raised the car. You can see the ground clearance is also increased. Okay, you see the amount of space here, massive air suspension of course. The wheels are 275/45/21s up front. I love the wheel design. See the size of the disc, massive again. Black body cladding running all around, side footstep, and there is of course a camera here along with something which projects the Mercedes logo on the floor at night. Lot of chrome around the windows. You see those are the roof rails of the car. Pretty much functional as well. And this car is just in excess as far as the size goes. It's humongous. And talking about humongous, well, that's what she said. The rear tire size happens to be 315/40/21. Yeah, 315. You know what is a 315 tire? Well, let me show you. This is what a 315 tire looks like. Well, that's something supercars use, and that's there on the Mercedes GLS. Coming to the rear, again, the design is according to what is new Mercedes-Benz design language. In fact, the lights are actually small compared to the size of the body of this car. The rear lights also look beautiful, but the real theater is when they light up at night one by one, and that's how they shut as well. It says 4MATIC right here and the chrome line continues. GLS 400d written. Okay, that is how the indicator is. And unfortunately though, you get these fake exhausts which shouldn't have been there. Let's get Faisal Khan's fingers of truth to check them out. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, they are a fake app. The actual exhaust of the car is hidden somewhere. You can see that. Well, there it is. And there you see it is actually dual port exhaust. Underbody looks very nice. Yeah, I absolutely love the underbody of Mercedes cars. Chrome lining, so a lot of chrome has been put on this car. Let's open the boot of the vehicle, which means just pressing a button here and there opens the boot of this Mercedes SUV. Now of course the boot is massive in terms of size, but what if you want to increase the boot carrying capacity? Well, you know what, you can recline the seats further. There you see, you can recline the seats. Yeah, all the seats going down just improves the boot carrying capacity of this Mercedes SUV. Here you see, you can actually carry a house or probably a Mercedes A-Class as well. What I'm going to do is I am going to put these seats up again. So you see there are buttons here. Yeah, there are buttons here. You press these buttons and you can do that as well. In fact, let me put those seats up to everything in place. Still, the boot is big enough. I think it's 335 liters. Okay, there's the spare wheel of the car, 155/80/19s, the size of the tire. There's a hook to secure your luggage. There's a light placement here. All these buttons obviously for reclining the seat. And just in case you're like, you know what, I need to decline the ride height of the car in order to put in stuff. Well, you can do that as well. So this is the button to decline the ride height of the car. Here I press it. You can see there the car is actually going down. Yep, you can see that move. Actually, you can't really see that move that well. Press this button and the boot closes of this vehicle because obviously it gets a powered tailgate. Let's quickly get inside. Okay, the disappointing part is there's no request sensor, which means that in order to open the door you have to remove the key, which is shocking at this price point. Quality levels are fab. The doors open really wide. Take that, Tata Ultros. And you know what, the storage space is also ample on the door pockets at the rear. Quality levels are fantastic. Okay, these are the controls for the seats, and the good thing is I can actually move the front seat from here. Yes, that's right. And you know what, this seat can be moved 100 mm front and behind, so the travel is quite a lot, because comfort is the name of the game. Now if I press this button here, okay, this seat reclines, so I can easily get inside the third row. Now the third row isn't as good as the older GLS. The older GLS just had more space. It also had a panoramic sunroof which used to extend all the way to the third row. Getting inside, not an issue. Seats are actually quite comfortable with adjustable headrests as well. And here you see the buttons are placed here also. So two USB-C charging sockets. You can actually press this button and recline the seat in order to get out of the car. So my goodness, controls are everywhere. Look at the seat go up. Oh my god, this is so fantastic. The flexibility on offer is insane. Same is the case here as well. Two USB-C ports. And there is actually, what is this? There's a hook here, yeah, which actually has come out in my hand right now. I don't think it's a hook, Faisal. And AC controls, I mean AC vents are everywhere. See, mic is here too. So you see, AC vents are placed everywhere. There's a nice light placement here too. And the car has got 9 airbags. You see the window area is actually large enough. So yeah, under thigh support is absolutely poor in the third row. You sit a bit knees up. Headroom is just about adequate. Legroom isn't much, but then you can obviously keep the seats ahead if you want more legroom. So that also works. So what you're going to do is we're going to put this seat back into place. So a lot of flexibility because the 60-40 split. Now you see the driver seat is also moving. So it actually moves all the seat accordingly. If you want to put in stuff or access the boot without having to open the tailgate, you press a button anywhere. There's a button here too, okay? Press this button, the driver seat also goes ahead. So a lot of flexibility in that regard. Let's get outside. Okay, yeah, you can recline it completely by pressing this button. But if you're in a hurry, you would do that. Everything is powered here. So let's put this back into place. Here, I just press this button and there it will get back into its position. So yeah, that button helps you to get the seat back into position. Now the middle row is the real highlight of this car because there's just so much space on offer. More so when you actually push the seat all the way behind in order to improve the boot space. However, this seat actually reclines by 30 degrees to improve your rear seat experience. So the focus is on the rear seat here, and beautiful controls to actually adjust everything. These are obviously the controls for the power windows. So yeah, you can press this button to open the sun blind of the car. Yeah, all the controls are here. You get a sun blind for the side as well. So AC vents are placed here on the B pillar, along with the fact that the AC vents are also placed here in the center, but this protrudes too much that a third person wouldn't be really comfortable. It gets a 4-zone climate control system. Right now the air conditioning is off. Yeah, we turn it off. A 4-zone climate control system which works really flawlessly well on this car. There's storage space here as well, and you see scooped out seat back. This is basically if you opt for the rear seat entertainment package, you can get a screen here too. Meanwhile, there's a hook here, height adjustable front seat belts, AC vents, lights, and I think this is a hook. Yeah, there's a hook there too. Handle to hold on to, microphone, really practical car. There is so much space on offer. I mean, good amount of under thigh support, good amount of headroom, and these pillows are super soft too. Yeah, super soft. Your head actually sinks in it. So yes, it does give you somewhat of the S-Class ISOFIX child seat mounts. And if you want, you can recline this as well because the center armrest has a lot of storage. There's a storage space here. There is a wireless charging pad here. There is a tablet which is missing on a test car, and you can turn it on and off from here. And yeah, there is a cubby hole to do storage too. But the problem which is that you cannot operate the sun blinds from this. You can't operate the sunroof from here, the sunroof blind either. It's a little restrictive, although you can control the ambient lighting, you cannot control the navigation. That is the dashboard of the car. Will remind you of the Mercedes GLE for sure. So yes, the rear seat gets a big thumbs up from me. The last row, well, isn't as impressive as the older GLS. Now this car comes with plenty of features, but certain features are missing, which is a bit disappointing. Like it should have got keyless entry, request sensors on all the doors. It should have also got soft closed doors. It says Mercedes-Benz right there. Good amount of storage here just to open the boot of the car. Burmester sound system, really lovely speakers, gets a 13 speaker system. You have got 3 memory settings for the driver as well as the co-driver, and this is to actually operate the co-driver seat, which can be done from here itself. These are the power window controls. These are the controls for the outside rear view mirrors. Metal switches feel really awesome. The seat feels very nice and comfortable. Love the bolstering on offer. In fact, under thigh support is not an issue at all because you can actually adjust the under thigh support of this car by pressing a button. You see that under thigh support can be improved, which is an absolute fantastic thing because for tall passengers there is an issue of under thigh support in most of the cars. I love the metal finish. These are the controls for the headlights. This is for the electric parking brake. This is for the rear fog, and this is for the headlight leveler. Meanwhile, The good thing is that this Mercedes SUV does have certain features which you would love for sure. Let's get inside. Okay, this is for the lumbar adjustment. Pedal placement, there's a dead pedal right there, and once inside you realize this is a massively wide car. It is super wide as such. It almost always tells you which seat belt is not fastened up. Let's turn off the air conditioning of the car. So it's got a 4-zone climate control system. Yeah, air conditioning off completely. Dashboard design is identical to the GLE, other than the fact that this is finished in gloss, and in the GLE it is finished in matte. Okay, these fake AC vents, well, they actually gel well. However, you know what, the glove box is lockable. It's decent in terms of size as well, and it gets the cooling function. No, it does not. Meanwhile, you see the quality levels are just fantastic on this car. Absolutely lovely quality of this Mercedes SUV. And the typical Mercedes affair, in fact, everything is the same what you're seeing on recent Mercedes cars. So these are the controls for the cruise control. These are the buttons to operate this instrument cluster. These are the buttons to operate this infotainment system. 12.3 inch, 12.3 inch. This is a touch. This is not a touch, of course. And you know, you get all the information here, which means that you can browse through whatever you want, which you would actually browse on the infotainment system, can be done here as well. Now it's got multiple modes for the instrument cluster display, which comes in styles and displays. I will show you all of them when I'm driving this car. And the usual information you would expect from a Mercedes car. Actually, it gives you more than the information you would ever need. Love the quality, love the fit finish, light placement, plenty of lights in this place. Meanwhile, there are lights here as well. Can you see those lights? Okay, auto dimming inside rear view mirror. There is a mirror here along with the light. Naturally, that would be the case here as well. So yeah, this car has all the creature comfort you would ever expect. I love the metal finishes. The metal finishing on these controls are super duper awesome. Engine start stop button. This is for the auto stop start. Turn it on and off from here. And if you feel that the interior will get dirty, well, there's an option for brown and black as well for the interior treatment. Let's open this. Twin cup holders. Yeah, twin cup holders, and you can press this button to eject the cup holder. There's a wireless charging pad, which is not very easy to access once you put your phone to remove it. There's a 12-volt charging socket and 2 USB-C plugs. So this car has got 11 USB-C outlets. However, not any regular USB outlet. Okay, because you go to Hyderabad, you have to pay a lot in terms of fuel and tolls. That's the reason we have got so many bills. But there's another USB-C here. So plenty of USB-Cs on this car, and there's storage space here as well. Okay, this is to hold on to. Ambient light looks really beautiful. It comes here. It gets 64 ambient light colors. This is a fakie. This is to increase the ride height of the car. Plenty of buttons here. This is for the parking camera. It gets a 360-degree parking camera. This is the touchpad. This is the driver mode selector. So right now the car is in eco mode. Let's get into comfort. Let's turn off the stop start system. And there is no sport mode on offer. This is the volume control. This is for the navigation and map. Maps are super duper awesome. Really slick, really nice. And the touchscreen works flawlessly well on this car. This to get into radio or media. Let's listen to an audio right away. Audio quality is fantastic. Cabin feels super wide. This is the gas selector of this car. It's a little too plasticky somehow. Should have been metal. These are the controls for the wipers. You see the wipers work really well. Plenty of spray on offer here. And this is obviously for the rear wiper. You see the rear wiper also works really nice on this car. Plenty of spray there as well. So yeah, practical in that sense. Wipers are super duper awesome. Now this screen is super fantastic. Okay, it's got voice commands which I will use when I'm driving this car. It has touch as well. It has got this touchpad too with handwriting recognition. I showed you the navigation system. It's fantastic. Okay, in comfort, there's 64 color ambient lighting. Something like seat kinetics, which actually moves the seat up and down to give you a relaxing feeling. Okay, like I was telling you about the colors, 64 ambient light colors. Fantastic. You can get into multicolors as well. So yeah, this is one of the best ambient light system. Nobody's able to match Mercedes in this regard. Plenty of information. In fact, there's something known as info as well, which will tell you engine data and vehicle data, which again I will show you while driving the car. Just pay attention because all this will be activated for sure. And Mercedes Me apps. It has got Mercedes' connected car system. This MBUX system is so good. It's so good. The more I praise it, the less it is. And obviously, it's got the safety systems like active brake assist along with a blind spot monitor, which is there. You can see that triangle, which you have to notice when I'm driving the car when it actually activates. So yes, very slick system, fantastic. It says 4G right there because Mercedes Me connected car will allow you to turn on the car remotely, pre-cool it, preheat it, and a lot of other things which you expect. So this Mercedes SUV feels fantastic in terms of features, yet could do with ventilated seats. Heated seats is not needed, but a massaging function should have been there in this car for this price point. But how is it to drive? Well, let's get going. But before we get going, let me show you this massive panoramic roof. Yeah, it is massive, but it is on the smaller side when compared to the previous generation of the GLS. Yeah, the third row passengers don't really enjoy it anymore, the glass roof, which is the panoramic roof on this car. But still, this brings in a lot of air inside. Let's press this button once to open the roof as such. And there, I was expecting it to open much bigger than it does. Unfortunately, it just opens this much. Yeah, that's about it. You press it once again, it doesn't open any further. So yeah, you really can't hang yourself out from here in case you're a bit on the heavier side. Now the headlights actually get, yes, 84 freaking LEDs, and the reverse parking camera is really very nice. Multiple modes for the reverse parking camera. So this is just one of the views. You can actually browse through the various modes. Front has also multiple modes. You can decide which view you want to see. And the side view is really fantastic because therein you can see the size of this car when actually parking it. You see the wheels are turning. That's fantastic. In fact, the best thing about this reverse parking camera is it's actually hidden. Yeah, that's right. This reverse parking camera is actually hidden. Once you get into reverse, the flap opens. Yeah, the flap opens, which is kind of nice. It has also got self park, which I will show you right away. Which means in order to get into self park, here you need to select this button and it will help you park by using park assist. So now we are going to do self park, confirming self park. It gets into reverse and I have to engage reverse gear. Now I leave everything. In fact, I don't even have to apply brakes on this car. It will auto brake, it will auto accelerate, it will do all of that. It will change gears as well, and there it's making a parking maneuver. The only thing is the place where it likes to park is kind of weird, so we just cancelled it at the moment. The only problem with this system is that it's not as responsive as the one on BMW cars, where BMW can actually parallel park. This car wants to park in the middle of the freaking road almost all the time. Alright, let's get going. Let's get into reverse. What a beautiful reverse parking camera. Steering is actually quite light for a car which is the size of an elephant, or maybe probably more than an elephant. Okay, there the parking sensors buzz. We can see a Jeep Compass behind. I know it's a Brezza, but it looks like a Jeep Compass. And I love the fact that every time you switch the driving mode, we are in forward gear now, it switches the camera flawlessly. Hey Mercedes,
how may I help you?
Engine data. So now we're going to get onto one of the worst roads ever to see how does this Mercedes GLS, which is actually the S-Class of SUVs, ride. So let me tell you that the ride is not that great at lower speeds because the suspension is on the softer side, which means that it does move around a bit. And other than the fact that the suspension is on the softer side, the tire profile is also very low. I know the tires are massive, so yes, they do rock a bit, but the tire profile is on the lower side for an SUV. But that said, the ride actually becomes much better once you start driving faster over smoother roads, and that's where the GLS really excels. Now in the city you would find it a big ass problem to maneuver this car because the size is humongous. Now I will not feel it because I drove this car from Mumbai to Hyderabad and back, and I had a flawless time driving this machine because it just feels so comfortable. It feels like you're in a mini bus. That's the best part. Now you have to keep away from these potholes, and every time I was driving on the Hyderabad highway, which is a beautiful road actually, the only issue which happened was when I saw a pothole, I used to be like so scared that kahin gaadi andar chali jaye na to tire ki watt lag jayegi. But no such issues happened, thankfully, because the soft suspension actually takes everything in its stride. Now it has got air suspension which forms a cushion underneath the car, and the air suspension is the reason why the ride becomes beautiful at higher speed. It kind of wafts along. Steering feel is amazing at higher speeds as well. That's again an amazing thing about the Mercedes GLS. Now we are actually in eco mode right now, and you know what, you can see everything around you. There is just such a commanding view of what's around. That's also a brilliant thing. Now this is a 3-liter straight 6 diesel engine which produces 330 horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque. That 700 newton meters of torque comes in at a rather early 1200 rpm. I think we need to shift mode, and I'm in comfort mode right now. There is no sport mode on this car, which is baffling to me. Like a car which costs so much money doesn't have a sport mode. Why would they do that? Well, because SUVs have to. Okay, you saw that? The blinking light? Blind spot monitor works beautifully well. In fact, this car saved me from hitting the Endeavour, which was right ahead of me, at least 4 to 5 times. Okay, I'm just exaggerating, but the active brake assist also works very well on this car. Now it's on late right now because you can have 3 modes for the same, either early, either medium, or late. In early, you see that accent right in front, it would probably warn me right now itself, and then when you come close, it will automatically apply brakes too. So you see the car actually wafts along beautifully well. This engine is so good, it's super refined, it's so refined you can barely hear it. And you would expect that this car to be really fast, give you the kick in the pants feel. It doesn't give you any of that because performance is very linear. It pulls like a silent person. It doesn't tell you that it's going to shock you silly, because the overall performance is more about being measured and linear than to scare you silly, because this car is all about comfort, which you can obviously see by having no sport mode on offer. So there are 3 drive modes. There's comfort, which we are in right now, There is Eco, which kind of conserves fuel but can get a bit frustrating, and there's off-road mode, which actually raises the ground clearance of this car thanks to the S suspension. But you know what, when you get into comfort, it really, okay, it doesn't have a sport, but when you get into comfort, it really doesn't drop the ride height to give it a more sporty driving impression. No, that doesn't happen either. So the ride is much better on the highways, on good roads. Like you can see, it's wafting along beautifully well, making an overtake no problem at all, because this car just punches ahead so fast. In fact, if you're not careful, you will be doing the double turn in no time at all, because that's how quick this car is. In fact, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes just 6.3 seconds, which is bafflingly quick for a car which weighs 2,500 kgs. You know, every time I look to the left now, it's like I'm looking onto an entirely different section of a road, because that's how far the left mirror is. That is the width of the Mercedes GLS. Now, braking performance is very good indeed. However, there is that nosedive as well, and that nosedive now, like under hard braking, you feel it, but regular braking, once you get used to it, you don't feel it at all. So what we're going to do is we are going to go left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, and it revs nicely. 2,500 RPM, you see colors change, and off we go. This motor actually revs very fast. I'm very impressed by the way this motor revs. Revs all the way to 4,500 RPM. But for a diesel, the refinement level is out of the world. It is so freaking smooth. Gear shifts also fast, but could be slightly faster in terms of kickdown. Now, this is a 9-speed gearbox. Okay, I told you about this system, right? So every time it will just beep to tell you that, you know what, you are in the line of sight of a collision. Back off or I will. And it just doesn't apply brakes. It judders the brakes so that you realize that you need to apply brakes, because sometimes, actually most of the time when such incidents happen, it's because you go to sleep. So the car will remind you. It's got pre-safe, which will, the seat belts will actually firm up before it thinks you're going to get into a collision. It's got like a ton of safety features, 9 airbags as well. So really safe car as such, but humongous in terms of size. That's what she said. This engine is very lovely. It's an amazing engine. It's the OM 656 series of engines. Straight 6 motor. It also powers the Mercedes S-Class, the S350d, as well as the G-Wagon, the G350d. But here it is obviously the GLS 400d, because it's a more powerful state of tune, and that's the reason why you see the top end is also very exciting. So low end lag is very well contained. The mid-range punch is nice. It really pushes ahead, but mostly linear. And again, in the top end, it feels nice and refined and sounds very sporty near the top end of the rev range. That's also very good indeed. But you know what, a sport mode should have been offered. You want to take manual control of the gearbox, no problemo. You have got steering mounted paddles as well. So yeah, it could be faster with shifts, not the fastest in terms of shifts, but it just breaches 100 kilometers per hour so fast you don't even realize. There, blind spot monitor, there again, forward collision, everything. The brake assist system works so well on this Mercedes car. Hugely impressive. Now when I was driving to Hyderabad, I realized one thing, that this car does not tire you out, because firstly, you have a great view of what's around. So you don't have to really stretch your neck. I don't have to stretch my neck for anything actually, because I'm like a giraffe. So I can see everything around me very clearly. But in this Mercedes, all these safety systems make your life so much easier too. Plus the fact that every time you want to make a quick overtake, you don't even have to go full throttle. Even half throttle is more than enough. And fuel efficiency, well, on the Hyderabad trip, I got somewhere between 8 kilometers per liter, which is kind of respectable. But you have to understand that this car does weigh a lot, and my right foot is super duper heavy as well, which means that I was taking it to the red line quite a lot of times, and still it gave 8 kilometers per liter. In the real world, when you guys drive it out in the city, it will give you somewhere around 8 kilometers per liter actually. Out on the highway, you can stretch it easily to 10 to 11 kilometers per liter, and this has a fuel tank capacity of 90 freaking liters, which sounds exciting first time when you think about it, but then later you realize Mercedes has actually reduced the tank capacity from 100 liters to 90 liters on the GLS. I don't understand the logic behind it. I know the older GLS was a bit more intimidating. This one feels a little softened out, but hey, who's complaining? Now, because this car has massive tires and the engine is super silent, you do hear the tire noise a bit too much inside the car. But yeah, that's going to happen when you have a 350 in rear. That's more than the size of the Lamborghini Huracan. Yeah, that's a massive rear wheel. I don't know why it needs such big wheels, and it's also very capable off the road. It's got Mercedes 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, which ensures a proper power split that even with traction control off, which is a little bit of a pain in your rear to do, you can still go flat out and there will be no loss of grip. Now, because it's high riding, obviously at high speed, slight movement is there, but it's quite aerodynamic, which is a good thing. But that movement is not an issue at all. You know why? because it becomes part of the experience. You're wafting along, you're floating, but then you come to a U-turn and you realize, OMG, this is humongous in terms of size, because the U-turn radius is just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. How much you have to put in effort for a U-turn is so low, yet the radius is so high, because the steering is very light.
No, there's latency in this.
Yeah, I know. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, rev still 2300 RPM and off we go. Upshift pretty fast, huh? Yeah, a little bit of vibration here and there, but for the most part you would not be complaining at all, because that is the level of seamless performance from this car. Now the steering wheel is an absolute joy to use. You know why? Because the steering wheel is light at low speeds but weighs up beautifully at high speeds, a typical Mercedes fashion, because Mercedes-Benz makes such amazing steering wheels which ironically weigh up in spite of the car not having a sport mode. Yeah, without a sport mode also the steering weighs up. So what do these three modes actually do? They alter the engine, the gearbox, the suspension, as well as the steering wheel. And I love the steering feel on this car. High speed stability is phenomenal. You can actually not really point and shoot this car. It gives you a lot of confidence to drive it hard and fast. However, make no mistake, this is a heavy car. It's humongous, it's big in terms of size, it intimidates you, it intimidates everyone around you as well, which is the reason you would really not push it around corners, because when you push it around corners, there is roll, there is more roll, and there is even more roll because of the soft suspension system on offer. And you know, I'm just enjoying just toggling through the various instrument cluster displays. It's so amazing, this instrument cluster. I love it. I think this is one of the best instrument clusters in the market right now. Mercedes is doing a fantastic job. Irony though is the person sitting next to me is like, that's a gimmick.
For me, you know, as you know, driving matters more. Being honest.
But for this price point, I would expect Mercedes' brilliant e-active roll bars as well. That should have been offered. A sport mode should have been offered. Ventilated seats should have been offered at this price point. But leaving this aside, there's little to fault with the Mercedes GLS, which is an absolute sensation of an SUV. It is not really the S-Class of SUVs, but it comes so close of being an S-Class of SUVs that you tend to love this car for what it offers. Now, those of you who think that Mercedes could have offered more features like me, don't worry. I know Mercedes for a fact will definitely launch the high variant of this car later on. But for starters, this Mercedes GLS, the second generation model, is a big step up from the first generation model, although it could have had the same level of comfort in the third row along with that massive panoramic sunroof as well. So yeah, certain areas they have cut things and the interior just feels too GLE as well. But put this aside, you will love this car. It's a fantastic SUV. It stays true to Mercedes' philosophy of being the best or nothing. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mercedes GLS 400d 4MATIC. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye. Take care.